A 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. Go. Welcome to the morning show. Rocking your way to work.
Cat growl.
The hate, the sweat, and the pain.
That's awesome, dude. I'm fucking headbanging over here.
Yeah, that was great.
That's a good way to wake up in the morning.
That was submitted by, I don't know, I have no idea how to say his name. Opeth is good.
That's the anti-sheep
Opeth
guy.
is good.
Opeth.
I think it's actually pronounced
Good.
Except you got to say it with a German accent. Good.
That was it. If Klingons made music, that would be it.
when I was in college,
And we like Klingons making music.
Absolutely.
a buddy of mine came home hammered, and he turned on what's the Metallica Black album? Like Enter.
It's the Black Album.
Enter Sandman?
It's the Black Album,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's
Yeah.
called. Yeah,
I think it's just called Metallica, but yeah.
I think it's called the
Black
Silver
Album.
Album.
right. You know, that's actually the inspiration for one of our very, very early Red versus Blue shirts, where Tex's shirt was printed black on black.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we kind of did the same thing for because we got inspired by the Metallica album. I'm adjusting my levels here, which is why I sound a little weird.
And everyone complained that shirt was unreadable.
Yeah, and
the
then,
point.
so then we
Like,
went
yeah.
to we went to the white on white text, which we use now that no one knows about. So all of that subconscious programming.
I didn't even know about
It's-
it.
Everybody's
secret.
Joel Heyman.
Hey, Joel Heyman. So my buddy came home and he was hammered, and he went into his room and locked his door and turned on Metallica on a fucking loop at like 3 a.m.
Everyone has that experience.
And then did he pass out promptly?
Absolutely passed out. Put it on like 9 and passed out and kept us all awake. And so
Everyone's had that roommate, yeah.
we proceeded to try to beat his door down with a ball peen hammer. And I think at one point we set his door on fire.
So you guys were drunk too,
This
is
when you were-
what we
Is this when you were
understand.
in college, or
We were just dumb.
That was your solution? We contain the fire to the door. It'll weaken the structure and we can get in.
Punch a hole right through it.
It would be stupid not to burn it down.
I had a roommate in LA who did the exact same thing, with just played it and all night long and just whatever. I went out, came back in the morning, came back at 11 in the afternoon. It was still going on. I was like, and then you start asking the question,
Are they dead?
did he die? Yeah, and it's just really, is he dead or what's going on or whatever? And it's like
We were hoping he was dead.
yeah.
I mean, that would have been a good resolution to this. We kicked down the door and
At least you could explain to the neighbors why all the noise was. Sorry, our roommate died.
exactly. Our house, we had such a problem with kicking in doors that there was actually rules in the lease when you moved in the bylaws that if you kicked in someone's
Wait,
door,
where is this?
this is the fraternity house when I lived in
right.
college.
Shocking.
That if you kicked in someone's door, it was a certain fine. But if the door had never been kicked in before, you could flip it so that because the door handle would break where you saw the hole for the doorknob.
Right.
And so that's where the door would break. That was the weak point. I know all about kicking in doors. So you could flip the door if it had never been kicked in before. That was a lesser fine than if you kicked in someone's door who had been kicked in twice. You had to buy a new door. 'Cause you couldn't flip
Were
it.
there indicators? Were there markers on the door to let you know? If you were going to kick it, did you all put a red stripe in the corner? Oh shit, that door's been kicked in before. Is this
No,
worth
you
it?
could tell because on the hinge side of the door there was a hole where the door handle used to be and a plate there.
Who owned the house?
We did. It was our
So,
house.
so you guys put these restrictions on yourself, basically, where it's you have to pay for.
Does that qualify? Is that a restriction?
Yeah, it's exactly.
I have a restriction on myself.
Point,
If I kick down my door at my house, I have to pay for it.
yeah, at what point is it just well, fuck it, we'll just.
Just burn it down.
Yeah.
It was such a common occurrence. I let a buddy of mine borrow my computer to write a paper, and he was going to print it, and he printed out the paper, and I went to go take a shower, and I guess when I shut my door, I locked my door, and I'm literally 2 doors down in the bathroom taking a shower. He comes back up to get the paper when it's done printing. The door was locked. He looked for me for about 4 seconds and then kicked in my door to get his fucking paper that I let him borrow my computer to
Did some
write.
people get confused and instead of knocking, they would just kick doors?
That was a form of knocking.
It's that's their greeting.
Knocking
Hello,
with
kick.
The bottom of their foot, they're knocking.
We went and shot at that place in the schedule. I
Yes.
remember, and that was the worst, ugliest place I had ever. And I've been in some bad places. That place was awful.
We used it as like a a project.
It
right?
was a scene where it was so funny. It was a scene where it was about a guy who's deaf, right? And so we shot in the bathroom, and there were cockroaches, giant cockroaches everywhere, all over the bathroom.
Nice.
And we had a thing where we were filming it, and we happened to be filming, and someone was like, "Joel, point at that cockroach walking by," and I pointed at the cockroach, and it literally stopped, jumped into the air, flipped up over on its back, and died.
Were you filming?
And then, we had it on film. I was like, God, that's great. We should totally use that.
So you're saying you're a method actor?
I'm a method actor, but it's like even the cockroaches thought that place was terrible.
So this was by campus?
Yeah, it's West Campus.
It's been torn down, right? It doesn't exist anymore.
There was asbestos in that place. It was fucking terrible.
They upgraded it. They turned it into a hole in the ground. It's a depression pond now. It's serving a much better purpose.
The best party we would do every year is that we would plug up all the doorways with sandbags, and we would flood the first floor about 3 feet deep in water.
See, that's great.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. That made me think about something I want to talk about in the podcast. The other day, I was reading these stories about fucked up experiments in the 60s, or fucked up experiments that have been done in the past. And there were a couple that stood out. The first one, I'm just going to mention very briefly, because it's the second one that's interesting. The first one, they got 3 mentally ill people who all thought they were Jesus Christ and made them live in a house together for 2 years.
That's called Jersey Shore, right?
That's called Achievement Hunter.
And one of them was convinced he was married to a 7-foot-tall woman called Madam Yeti Woman.
Wow.
And the scientists would write letters as Madam Yeti Woman to him, trying to convince him to change his name from Jesus Christ.
I tuned out of your story for 1 second, and I'm lost.
But anyway,
I am like, what in the hell is happening?
The more interesting one's the second story. You talking about flooding a house made me think about this one.
Well, my question is, how do you find these people before Craigslist is invented? How do you locate these people?
They were probably state-run institutions. They probably just grabbed 3 people, right?
I guess so.
The second experiment that I read about was, I guess the government funded this experiment down in the Virgin Islands. They want to teach dolphins to speak. So
who is funding this?
So they built a house that was partially flooded so that a woman and a dolphin could live together. Like
what?
So
Wait a minute.
I want to see the link up on this thing.
So they this woman lived. Like, they gave her the dolphin when it was tiny, and like the dolphin grew up with her. Problem was, when the dolphin reached sexual maturity, it just wanted to bone her.
The human woman.
Yeah. So,
that's like a big problem, right?
Yeah, the dolphins
are always trying to bone people.
The dolphin would get really aggressive and like was bruising her and attacking her because she wouldn't have sex with it.
Yeah.
So they started giving the dolphin conjugal visits. They would take the dolphin out of the house and let it have sex with other dolphins. But then they were like, "But this is fucking up our experiment. We don't know if we can teach it to speak if it gets to interact with other dolphins."
See, once a dolphin gets laid, it has no purpose for language anymore. It's pretty much over.
So
what the fuck are you guys talking about? That dolphins want to have sex with people? I've never heard this.
You ever heard any of this?
So their solution was
no, you can't just brush past that. You like he
no,
said
it.
No, we're gonna go back.
I'm gonna come back to it.
I have things to say about this.
So their solution was we can't let this dolphin have sex with other dolphins. So it became a little more gentle. Like it was trying to court the woman who would like nibble at her feet and like
it can't talk, but it learned to play Stairway to Heaven on guitar.
And it would roll over and show its junk to her. So she started giving the dolphin hand jobs.
No. Get out of here.
And the dolphin became more receptive to their lessons after she started jacking it off.
Bullshit.
But it still wasn't talking. So their solution was, oh, of course, the dolphin's not talking. You need to do LSD with the dolphin.
When was this?
In the 60s. So they started dropping acid together.
What the fuck, dude?
And then after they started doing acid, the government cut their funding. But it's like, if you're that woman now, and someone asks you, what's the worst job you've ever had? Like, well, one summer I had to give dolphin hand jobs and drop acid with it in a partially flooded house.
What the fuck? Did the dolphin ever learn to talk?
The dolphin never learned how to talk.
Why would it?
It got hand jobs and LSD down in the Caribbean somewhere.
God.
Wow.
What would you? What's the hope? What do they think a dolphin's going to say?
I don't know. Maybe
more
they wanted
hand jobs.
Yeah.
I assume they wanted it to like look. They were trying to train them to look for mines or submarines. Who knows?
They're always that's always the 1960s dolphin experience. Like we need to train dolphins to like hunt for mines. Are mines that important? Do we need to go through all this trouble?
Mines are a big deal. Mines are a big deal now.
Not to the point where we need to be giving people LSD and dolphins hand jobs.
There's nothing
They're
that
not
reaches
that
that
important.
point.
And
There's
the
nothing.
dolphin got LSD too. I just want to say
God.
they treated it as an equal.
What in the fuck, man? Anything went back then, I guess. It's like they could just do whatever.
It's like
the
if
hell
you
they
said you were a scientist, you could get money from the government. It was
Good
like, I'm a
God.
scientist and I want to do acid with beavers.
LSD was a big thing. LSD was a big gateway for research money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they wanted to, I guess, experiment with the mind enhancing capabilities.
was it the army that actually engineered LSD? Is that right?
I've heard.
I don't know.
I've heard like it's like an Alex Jones rant, but
Oh,
I've
I
heard
see.
I've heard theories that the CIA developed.
I mean, where did it come from?
I don't know.
I mean,
Definitely not nature, right? It's like
yeah, definitely not. I don't think it comes in tabs and like these sheets of paper.
It came off the ass of some frog
Off
from the Amazon.
acid tree.
You know, Taika over at Penny Arcade is a very poetic person. And he described one. I'm so glad to be able to include Taika in a conversation about hand jobs on dolphins.
dolphins. And LSD.
I'm certain he'll appreciate this. But he once talked about drug use, and he talked about being intrigued that there is a chemical component to consciousness. And I thought that's a really interesting way to put that. So it's the same kind of thing as once they start to discover
Chemical component to consciousness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's Joel's life.
that can be altered.
Well, if you think about it, like on a, and maybe this is a little too nerdy. If you think about it, like on a chemical level, like you have neurons, right, that have like receptors. Your brain cells have receptors that are
You do.
shaped certain ways to accept like certain proteins and certain
yeah.
bindings, and you can manufacture drugs that get in there and interfere with the natural firing and the natural bindings. You can engineer something that kind of fits in there like a puzzle piece and fucks it up.
That's the problem, right? That's why cocaine is bad for you. It goes into your synaptical connections and messes up the
Yeah.
connection.
It's like forcing a jigsaw piece into
Well,
somewhere
exactly.
that doesn't fit. And
It makes
yeah,
it
you kind of make it fit, but then the right piece won't fit in there anymore.
That was the analogy I always heard about it, where like almost makes it too big, and then you can't reconnect after you take it out of the system.
Yeah.
But
Wait a minute. Cocaine is bad for you?
You're learning all kinds of things today.
They don't put that on the package.
I told you, we're totally reclassifying this as an educational podcast now.
that story's really funny to me because it's always brought up where with dolphins, where you go to the water park and then like 1 out of every 4 people gets like the
Fucked by
dolphin
a
like
dolphin?
trying. Yes, it's like a big like problem where the dolphins are always, and like if you watch like the nature
Not a
channel,
problem. Not
or
a problem for
whatever,
the dolphin.
basically how dolphins procreate is that 2 dolphins get together and they basically chase down and beat the crap out of the female dolphin until she's at the point of exhaustion, and then they do their business.
What?
That's nature's mysterious way of making more dolphins.
I am distancing myself from the Joel Heyman stance on dolphin sex.
this is not me. This is just how it is.
I mean,
That's just how
you
it
guys.
is.
That end of the table is like I don't know what. I don't know. I gotta get away from this conversation.
I'm afraid of the knowledge that's over here on that side. I'm distancing myself from that side of the table.
Are you really? Are you
I was
really
ta-
taking the high ground with dolphin interspecies hand jobs?
I was talking about science. It's the federally funded science that took place in this country.
Federally funded science.
If that's not on the up and up, I don't know what is. Back in the 60s when shit was cool.
Good lord! I mean, I wonder what's going on today. Like, what would be the LSD of the 2000s? Like, what is the drug they're testing on everything now? Would it be
4chan.
Like Adderall. Yeah, the internet, social media. Is it? I guess it'd be like Adderall or something. What's new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about Viagra starting as a blood pressure medication, right?
Yeah.
And all the male patients reported the same side effect every single time.
That's really fortunate
What's that?
for the drug company. They're like, well, I guess it doesn't work right, but it's got this other feature we can totally sell.
Just change the marketing.
Have you guys ever done that? Have you guys? Because in Austin's a big,
Viagra, no.
Austin's a big university town.
I've never taken Viagra. I met this
Yeah?
guy one time who told
like
me
where
this
this is going.
story.
Hold on, let me get my coffee cup for this story. Please continue.
I am not even sure. I remember this. He's like, I'm not even sure he was like Israeli. I met him like on a set, and he's like, yes. And he started telling me the story, and I wasn't even really interested in hearing it. But what I could piece together, he was like, yes, I take the Viagra. Only take small bit of Viagra because it really, really work.
What is
only
this accent you're going for?
I'm
right
not
now?
sure, but
Okay,
that's
keep
the apparently.
Dolph Lundgren with a head injury.
He gave me all these different pieces of the story, and basically what had happened is
There was a dolphin.
You're never supposed to tell the other person that you take the Viagra because apparently he took a whole bunch of Viagra,
Yeah, a whole bunch,
a whole bunch of
like
Viagra,
a handful.
a handful of Viagra, got an erection that he couldn't get rid of. The wife came home.
You want my medical terminology for this? Priapism. There you go.
Priapism. That's
Thank
right.
you. Welcome.
Couldn't get rid of it. Wife got angry, stormed out on him. Was in the apartment for like I don't know how long, hours and hours. Finally had to go to the hospital. So
Oh, they say
that's our
for 4
medical
hours.
advice. For this.
Why'd the
4
wife-
hours, contact
why'd
your doctor,
The
right?
wife storm out.
I guess I don't know if they get offended that you need a drug to be attracted to them, or
Oh, I see. So the performance enhancing was the bad part. So she's like the judges at the
it
Tour
should
de
be like,
France.
no, I'm
basically.
naturally this attracted to you all the time.
I see. So this guy was married to this lady?
He's like, I've got a nonstop boner for you, baby.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, why did you take the handful? Did he explain it to you?
Did he have
I don't know.
did he have a really bad boner? He's like, well, one's not going to cut it.
See, now I'm trying to think of myself what the medical terminology for all of this is, but yeah, I don't know. Apparently, if you get to the point where you get aroused all the way 100% or whatever, he still had it. Like he couldn't get rid of it.
Right.
That's-
You know what the solution for that is when you go to the hospital?
Scissors? I don't know.
Did they give you blood clotting medicine?
Blood clotting. Jesus.
Stop the circulation?
No.
LSD?
They make an incision and drain blood from you.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, that's what they do.
No, thank
That's
you.
what they do.
Jesus. You know,
Story
it's
of my
all
life.
you always think.
What's
You
worse?
always think there's some sort of magical procedure,
Like,
but it's always
if
like,
you
no.
if you don't, why don't they just put a leech on it for Christ's sake? I mean, if they don't let the blood out of the penis, what's the alternative? Does it eventually go away on its own?
Did you really say put a leech on someone's boner?
I'm saying it's just as bad. It's terrible.
Why are you going to the animals again with this?
Interspecies,
If you
man.
give, if you
They've
give,
got that
if,
sucking hole. I
if you
can't help it.
if you give the leech a hand job, and then
Christ.
No, but seriously, if they don't
Sucking hole.
if they don't
Ugh.
drain the blood, what happens? What's the worst case scenario there?
Tissue death.
can't you?
okay.
Shit got real. Shit got very real all of a sudden.
Definitely don't want that. Rather have a bad synaptical connection than that. Probably.
How is this is going to be a fun thing to read. How is priapism treated? The goal of all treatment, this is from the clevelandclinic.org site. The goal of all treatment is to make the erection go away and preserve future erectile dysfunction. If a person receives treatment within 4 to 6 hours, a 4 to 6 hour erection, the erection can almost always be reduced with medication. If the erection has lasted less than 4 hours, decongestant medications, which may act to decrease blood flow to the penis, may be very helpful. Other options include ice packs, surgical litigation.
Litigation.
It was like a
Oh,
doctor
sorry,
lawyer.
not litigation. Sorry, ligation. I
Oh,
got it
okay,
wrong.
okay.
And then aspiration. After numbing the penis, doctors will insert a needle and drain
Oh,
blood from the
nah.
penis to reduce pressure and
See,
swelling.
this is why you never want to go to the hospital.
What's that?
This is why you never want to go
No,
to the
this
hospital.
is why you don't want to take a handful of Viagra.
Yeah, you learned the wrong lesson there.
Dude, what if you're a
It's also the reason why you never want to visit SeaWorld. This is the podcast where you learn all sorts of
I think we've
behaviors
made a
to avoid.
connection here. Apparently, dolphins just have this
Do not throw Viagra into the
naturally
tank.
occurring. What would happen if you gave a dolphin Viagra?
How bad of a day are you gonna have if you're a doctor and you're like, hey, guy's got a boner. You gotta go drain his boner. Like, dude, does a nurse have to do that, or does a doctor have to come in?
That's a
Like,
great day. That's an iPhone camera day. That's what that is.
I just saved 3 people's lives. Now I gotta go drain a guy's boner. All right.
Man, I gotta say, still the toughest. This is gonna be a huge downer from this fun conversation. As a doctor, it's got to be the toughest thing ever. It's just like, how do you tell someone they're gonna die? You know, or like in the case of the 4 hour, 6 hour boner. Just imagine having to talk with a guy and tell him, "Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that off. And you're gonna lose that."
I can imagine that because I feel like most of the time that person brought it on themselves.
Gus, we're in the Hippocratic Oath is the gleeful revenge.
No, 'cause, like you have to feel bad.
No,
It's like,
I
it's
understand
like,
what Gus is
you
saying.
brought this on yourself,
Dr.
as opposed to like
Justice.
I don't know, you get zapped by some ray that gives you a nonstop boner. That's a little different. Like when you take the medicine versus someone giving you the nonstop boner. That's two totally different things.
That came out of the '60s too, I think. Right? That ray that was our
Boner ray?
tax box.
zapped by a ray.
That's Orgasmo, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is like a superhero origin story.
I don't think if you're a doctor and you have to like do that, this is probably why they pump people full of so many drugs or whatever. Where it's like, hey Johnny, we got to take your arm. It's just like, well, it's going to be a lot easier to tell Johnny this if he's just pumped full of whatever. Also, if a guy's absolutely, I don't know, terminal, like going to die 100%, maybe do you go in there and you're just like, well, you have a 5% chance to live.
Yeah,
Do you present it in that manner? I mean, it's just.
yeah.
I mean, does any doctor ever go in and just be like, "You're dead"?
So I have this movie with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. I want you to watch.
Really?
No reason. Just you should watch it.
You're doing that thing again where you stop talking when I talk.
I think
I don't like that.
it works. It works very well. So,
Huh?
speaking of telling someone they're going to die, we saw The Gray, and the movie's now been out
my
for a full
God.
weekend.
So people are loving this movie apparently.
I mean, it's really weird. I got associated with it in some weird way. I guess I talked about it in the podcast
Apparently,
before.
A couple times.
I talked to Jack about it, and Jack was like, "Oh, I really like this movie," and it's basically what I'm getting is it's a man movie.
It's
Total
very
man
much
movie.
you element fire. I get that.
Joel,
That works.
as a professional actor, you will appreciate this. Because of some weird marketing snafu or whatever reason or an editing thing, the movie was delayed by like 2 or 3 weeks, which means it came out early 2012 as opposed to right at the end of 2011. I can almost guarantee that cost Liam Neeson an Oscar.
A nomination, at least.
Dude, I've seen most of the movies now. I mean, George Clooney and The Descendants might be a good push. But man, it's maybe The Artist. I haven't seen The Artist
It's a
yet.
shame that always happens.
Liam
where,
Neeson in The Gray is fucking amazing, dude.
That's awesome. Maybe I should see it.
Like, I want to talk about the movie so much, but I don't want to spoil it for
Me
everyone out
too.
there.
Me too. And people keep telling me they like see commercials on TV for The Gray and they like run to turn it off. They keep telling me this on Twitter. But no, it's just the trailer itself. They decided to include some things in the trailer, some specific shots, which it will boggle your mind after you've seen the movie. Why would they put this in there?
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't. If people have accidentally seen the trailer, I don't want to say what it is. But
Yeah.
Great movie.
We'll
though.
give it a month
Awesome.
or two, and then we can talk about it.
Awesome.
I've seen it twice.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
Well, I'd like
And
to see it.
Very rarely go see movie twice in the theaters.
It's because of the Rumble Box.
The Rumble.
Did you go to the Rumble
D-Box?
Box?
I did not go to the D-Box to see that. I wonder what's showing at D-Box right now.
I like the shaking.
Do you want to hear something insane, though? I showed you, Jack, this yesterday, and you this as well, I think. So last night, I went to go see The Gray at the Alamo Drafthouse movie theater,
The Ritz.
and I reserved my seats online.
That's,
And it was like seeing the face of God.
that's
Joel.
crazy.
It's only at the Ritz downtown, though. That's the only theater they're doing it.
That's awesome.
Is it only a small area? It's not. Or is it the entire theater?
It's 2 rows in the center, 2 full rows that are reserved seating.
See, I saw it was like half of 2 rows.
so
but-
one row.
Well, it's like two halves back to back, so like one in front of the other.
Jack, I did it yesterday. Why the fuck would you fight me on this?
Because I literally went and looked for tickets for something else at the Ritz just to also check that.
fight.
And also, one cool thing is if you buy the reserve seats, you also got free parking downtown too. I don't know if you took advantage of that.
What?
I did not.
Where?
Someone researched this shit.
Where do you
Where?
where?
Like 2 blocks up on like 8th and Lavaca, or not Lavaca. I don't know. It's a garage like 2 blocks north of the draft house.
Yeah, that's like right at the Arch. I wouldn't do that. The Arch is our big homeless center, which is
No, the Arch is a little east of there. The Arch is off of Red River.
No, it's
No.
it's 1 block west of Red River. I
Arch?
forgot yeah. I forget
Oh
the
yeah,
name.
you're right. You're right. 1 block west of
Yeah.
Red River.
Man. They built for whatever reason they built an enormous homeless center a block from the major tourist center in Austin.
Yep.
I mean, it was just
It's
perfect
funny
design.
too because it's a really nice looking homeless center. As far as the homeless center goes, It's
Yeah,
like Art Deco.
But
it's
the
really
people
nice.
outside are not.
I think we
nice.
made
homeless people.
Back when we had the comics, I think we made a few comics about my interactions walking by there. I saw more homeless boob outside of the Arch than I care to remember.
It's a weird deal because it's like if you're driving your car down the street right there, that you're almost guaranteed to get that interaction where you're going to be driving slowly down the street and you're going to get a homeless person who's going to purposely walk in front of your car and then sort of look at you and give you the chest pound, like, come on, hit me.
Yeah.
You know, like that sort of thing. So it's just.
Have you ever been tempted to do it? Because I want to do it all the time.
do what? Hit somebody?
When someone's crossing
Well,
illegally like
here's
that, it's
the
like,
thing.
and they're like challenging you, like looking at, like staring you down, like they're winning. Like, oh fuck them!
Like,
I will fuck this person up.
Like, what if you just like kissed the gas where you're just going like a half a mile per hour but didn't stop?
No, you got to commit.
You just kind of keep that slow crawl. I guess that's probably not going to work. 'cause
You gotta
they'll-
hit 'em.
they'll move to the side and then try and choke you.
Yeah, they'll punch your car as you go by.
So I had a weird thing. There was, in my screening of The Gray, there must be something shooting here in Austin because there was a handful of actors that you recognize and then think, I got to go look up what that guy's name is online. And they were all in the theater watching stuff. One was the guy who played David Wallace on The Office, Michael Scott's corporate boss.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And he was there. And then the guy who played the dude who could fly in Heroes, and his name is Adrian Pazdar.
Dude, man, it's been so long since I saw Heroes.
He's the...
Oh, he was married to one of the Dixie Chicks, isn't he?
Is it? I don't know.
I could have sworn.
He was born April 30th, 1965 in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
That's about the extent.
You know, David Wallace, the guy who plays David Wallace in The Office, he was actually like a lawyer or something,
Right.
For someone on The Office, or like someone who worked in The Office, and they like, hey, you'd be perfect to play a corporate boss, and he sat down and played it. Now he's an actor, I guess.
Yeah, he just got the role for being that. I read just recently that Alan Rickman, who most people would know, I think, from the Harry Potter movies, he plays Snape, right?
Yeah.
In-
Die
Or
Hard.
Galaxy Quest.
Or Galaxy Quest, or Die Hard. Do you know that Hans Gruber, the part that he played in Die Hard, was his first role ever as an actor?
I just read that the other
and
day.
he started acting at 42 years of age. Just decided to start acting. And he played, in my opinion, what is one of these seminal action villains. And it's so different, too. It's like his approach to an action villain was so different than anything else I'd seen so far.
Yeah, that was so great at the time, because
Yeah.
you just been like, I'm going to be the villain who's going to be somewhat calm and logical about things, which is really refreshing and nice.
Like a mastermind.
Well, yeah, and he's not like overly like physically threatening, but it's just like, yeah, he doesn't give a shit and he will fuck you up. It's
Yeah.
like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
Same kind of way. Just like, yeah, I'll just fucking destroy you. And now like James Spader on The Office, if you still watch The Office, kind of that way. Confusing and intimidating.
My one beef with Mission Impossible 3 is I never understood who the Philip Seymour Hoffman character was supposed to be. It was just kind of like
I get you.
bad guy with no real story. Like the story was revolving around him, but not about him.
Was he in the previous?
No.
Oh, he
No.
wasn't?
No.
Huh.
I remember the scene where like Tom Cruise gonna throw him out of the plane. He's just like, I don't care. Throw me out. I don't give a shit. And then he like after they like relents and Philip Seymour Hoffman calls his bluff, then Philip Seymour Hoffman's sitting there still tied to that chair. He's like, I'm gonna kill everyone that you love. It's just like Jesus.
Like that's a very strong negotiating position to be tied to a chair,
Yeah.
about to be thrown out of a plane.
You know, I have a theory that really famous actors, like if you go through specific scenarios, there's really famous actors who are good in specific situations. And like specifically, I got to take this phone call, unfortunately. Like I think about, this is really specific, but Bruce Willis is the best person at sitting in a chair and listening to somebody else talk. And just sitting there and listening. That's really specific. I'll be right back. I take this phone
Yeah,
call.
sure, that's fine. Fucking abandoning us. Okay, now this is the talk shit about Bernie portion of the podcast.
That's Bruce Willis on the phone.
He's sitting there talking to him while sitting in a
I don't
chair.
know how I always get behind on like every movie.
Yeah.
Like you guys see,
Because you don't go out and do anything. That's
You're
why.
like, you're like me, Joel. I have to wait for it to be like on Zune or like iTunes so I can buy it and watch it at home because I don't want to go anywhere.
I'm really bad about it.
if you're not here at the office,
How many Oscar movies have you seen?
have I seen? Do you have the list of Oscar movies?
I have it upstairs.
I want to say I've seen like 2 or 3. Not many though. Like I haven't seen The Artist, which I want to see.
I hadn't even heard of the artist till the Golden Globes. I don't think.
Me neither.
See, that's my problem. Like most of the movies they even name, I haven't even heard of them.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Is that I get all those DVDs in the mail.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I get them all in the mail
Oh
because
yeah, you're still.
I'm
You're a
because
Hollywood person.
I'm SAG or whatever, so it's like I'm on the SAG
Yeah.
movie list, and so for the nominees, they always send me. I still watch them.
Well, you just sell all those, right?
No, don't sell them.
That's why you're always at the Pirate Bay.
No. I don't even open them. I won't go to the trouble of even opening. I have a pile of them. I should watch them at some
You
point.
fly a lot. You should just fucking watch them on your laptop when you fly.
I should, but I'm really that's your fault because you keep introducing me to all those apps and also the Audible people.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
I always listen to that.
I just downloaded Hero Academy, which is like a multiplayer strategy game on my iPhone. It's been pretty fun.
What was the game that you played?
Star Control 2
Star Control 2.
or Quan Masters.
You were playing that on the way out to San Francisco one
do you
time,
remember?
right?
Do you
yeah.
remember Star?
That was the
Do you
same
remember
game.
Star Control 2?
Yeah.
anytime
Well, no,
I-
I don't remember playing, but I remember watching Gus play.
Anytime I got on
you
a
don't-
plane,
you-
I was playing that game.
You're not familiar with Star Control 2 at all.
No, I've seen Gus play it, but I haven't played it myself.
Star Control 2, if you
Mass-
haven't played it,
It's Mass Effect,
is Mass Effect.
but made like 20
But
years.
made 20 years ago, with on the pixel level.
Yeah,
It's
you like build. Well, it's a little different in that you have to like get resources and upgrade your ship, but you have to like collect alien allies and then go and fight like an overwhelming force.
which is, I don't know. I think this is the best great game format.
No, it was great. It-
No, that was one of those things where Gus was playing this game on a plane. We were flying out to San Francisco for a commercial shoot. And literally in the parking lot of the place we were going, we looked across the way, and another one of the buildings was the building they made the game at, right?
Yeah, it was the developer of that game.
That's
I was like, holy shit.
That's right. I was like, that's irony. That was the same trip that I was like, oh, wait a minute, I lived here.
Yeah, and you lived like a couple miles away from where we were.
That was a crazy trip.
That was.
There were no dolphin handjobs on the trip, but still.
Not that time.
Or,
It wasn't that crazy.
or LSD.
Or LSD on that trip. Yeah, so I finally finished Mass Effect 2, finally.
Good, just in time for 3.
Just in time for 3.
Okay.
God, was a good. Did you didn't play
I
Mass Effect
haven't
at
touched
all?
1 or 2. I've so many.
God, you're crazy.
Many people have told me I need
so
to play
good.
all the way from 1 to 2 and then go to 3.
Well, here's
so
the thing: is that I didn't play all the way completely through 1, and I
Okay.
just don't have the time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's
I
like
think if you're pressed for time, you can play 2 and get into 3. Like 1 is more like backstory and character development. Like the boss in like the overall enemy that they're alluding to is kind of briefly in 1 as an unseen force, and then it becomes more prevalent in 2.
okay.
And I also said to myself, I said, I'm going to play through this and be honest. I'm going to play through it one time. And if people die, then they die. That's it. I'm not going back, whatever. one time, and I lost 4 people.
Oh shit!
I lost 4 freaking people. Now I got to know the next game. I'm 4 people down already.
Did you see Jessica Chobot's going to be in the next Mass Effect game?
Yeah, I heard about that.
They announced her. She's actually modeled into the game too.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
And the girl who voices Edie's really hot.
Who's Edie?
Edie is the AI in the computer.
Yeah, the AI on the on your ship.
The Cortana of Mass Effect, essentially.
See, does that help when you picture the female voices in your nav system and all that? Do you ever picture an attractive girl? Because
I picture a dolphin with a boner. I'm like,
you know what ruined it for me forever? It was if you remember the original Star Trek and the voice of the computer on the original Star Trek.
It's Major Roddenberry, right?
Yeah, it was Gene Roddenberry's wife, right?
Who is Deanna Troy's mom.
Exactly. And so, anytime now I hear a female voice on Nav or whatever, I picture Gene Roddenberry's wife.
You guys don't watch Big Bang Theory, do you?
No.
No, and I got yelled at that the other day.
You got yelled at that?
Yeah, I got yelled at because I didn't.
Okay, there you go.
Words used good.
I'm still on the NyQuil, guys. This is a month.
So there's a character on the show who he can't talk to women unless he's drunk, unless he has some form of alcohol.
I can't talk to microphones.
Well, there you go. But and so he ends up getting a new iPhone, and it has Siri on it. So he falls in love with Siri essentially, and then the end of the episode, he ends up having this dream where he sees Siri, and then he can't talk to her anymore. It's this hot redhead. He's and he locks up and freaks out. So.
That's pretty funny.
It's pretty clever.
Is the Siri getting dumber on this?
No. It was pretty sweet. It was a nice romantic relationship they had.
Are you using your Siri?
I never use Siri. The only
Why
time
not?
I don't know. The only time I use voice controls on my iPhone are when I'm doing text messages while driving. Because it has that little button you can hit and just talk to it, and it'll just type out whatever you say.
It'll also read you your messages.
Yeah.
I've got to upgrade. I got to get to the new phone.
Well, it's great. I have Bluetooth in my car, so I can talk to Siri through my speakers and
it works.
The sound system
That's
in my
cool.
car.
God,
You got a Prius, right?
Yeah.
So that's all fancy and stuff. Mm-hmm. You should probably wait now. I mean, we're halfway through the cycle. I mean, you might as well wait for the iPhone 6.
5.
I guess.
Well,
so.
the 4S was the fifth one, right?
Right.
So it'd be the 6th generation iPhone.
Yeah, but you called the iPhone 3G. You called the iPhone 4 the 4, right? I mean, the 3G was the 3G was the 3rd.
Yeah, 3G was the 3rd.
But they're not going to call the next one iPhone 6. They have to have a 5.
No. But it's the 6th generation.
Yeah, don't fucking argue with me. That's a fucking bullshit semantics. It's the iPhone 5. They're going to call it. Oh, they're going to come out with iPhone 8.
Why do they do that anyway? Why do they just call the last one 4? Why do they just throw the letter on the? Why are they doing that? Is there a technical reason?
I don't know, probably because the form factor didn't change. They didn't want people to be confused.
It didn't work. They didn't want people to be confused. They failed on that. Simple.
The S was for Steve. Remember, because he died. It was for Steve.
Oh God.
So Facebook is IPOing. What does that mean,
Yeah.
Joel? I have no idea what that means.
What are they filing for? Something ridiculous, right? $100 billion IPO or something bullshit?
Right. Well, nobody knows what this means exactly. The talk was that they were going to IPO for, $75 to $100 billion.
Jesus.
But you don't have the financials, so you don't know. You don't know how many. That's going to be the overall float.
Okay.
Is how they're going to measure it, but you don't know what their earnings are, so you don't know if that's good or. I'm not sure that I would get into that. I mean, they already have 1/3 of the world's population on Facebook.
Wow.
So how do you grow from that?
Aliens.
No, I mean seriously, how do you improve upon that? You
You
know
just
what I mean?
put
You
more
already
ads.
have everybody.
One more banner ad.
CNBC is reporting that they reported yesterday that Facebook is expected to file today,
They're gonna
for
file-
a $5 billion IPO.
Right. So they
$5 billion?
no, but
Jesus.
the $5 billion doesn't matter. The $5 billion is just a placeholder. In other words, it's just so they can file paperwork.
I see. Yeah, and the company's currently looking at a valuation of $75 to $100 billion.
Right. So what they're going to do is it's just they file the paperwork and they just announce it's okay, we're going to go public and we'll say $5 billion, and then
Okay.
basically it's going to start going up from there.
Okay.
And
So,
then
so how does explain to someone who's never really messed with stock market stuff. So essentially you have, is there a limited number of stock in a company, or does it build? How does that work?
There will be a limited number of shares.
So at some point, if no one sold their shares, no one could buy more Facebook?
Well, they'll divide it up. They'll say this amount is going to be held by Zuckerberg. This amount's going to be held by people in the company, and then this amount of the float, this percentage of the float, we'll throw to the public.
Okay,
I mean,
but I'm saying there's no limited quantity that goes to the public. Like
there is.
Well, it's a limited, right?
So theoretically,
that's why the price goes.
That's
up
why the
and
price
down.
goes up because people want it, and there's only a certain amount of it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then the people, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Joel. The amount that they allocate for like employees like Zuckerberg and stuff, they have to wait typically several years before they can cash it, before it vests,
exactly,
and they can redeem
like they call it.
Okay.
They call it lockup. So it's like locked up basically. So they can't. The people who are on the inside can't sell their shares and undermine the public basically.
Yeah, they can't just dump it immediately, make a bunch of money, flood the market, and devalue the stock.
So Zuckerberg's
Exactly.
going to have like what 51% of the stock or something like that. Or?
I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff.
I'm trying to think of Social Network, how much he owned.
Well, it's funny because they're talking about like all the people, just like in Google back in the day. Now with Facebook, you're going to have all of these employees whom overnight are going to become millionaires.
Wow.
And it's sort of a problem from the company's standpoint because they talked about this in other companies where it was like, well, we became public and all these people became millionaires. It's like all of a sudden they started showing up at 11 instead of 9.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
But they're not millionaires instantly, except to wait for their stock to vest, right?
Right.
But they're still they just have to hold on to it.
On paper, right? They're on paper
Yeah.
millionaires. But there's different, I don't know, there's different things here and there and subtleties and this, that, and the other thing. But I'm not sure, man. It's like Facebook is so overhyped and like everybody's talking about it. They're going to have crazy earnings.
Here's the way I look at it. My mom is already on Facebook. Like, how are they going to get past that? Are they going to get my grandmother to sign up for Facebook?
Exactly. It's like, in other words, they've already maxed out probably on the amount of people.
They're going to have like Facebook for kids. So it'll be like, newborns. You just pop them out.
Exactly.
They'll type in their details as it's like, instead of giving you that
No,
sheet.
they just take a genetic profile. They just suck some amino acid out and...
Immediately get the
I'm
profile.
sorry, some amniotic fluid out. What am I saying? Amino acids. It's like a fucking retard over here.
I'm just glad we didn't get into that other stuff. Never mind. But anyways,
So
yeah.
what does it mean when? God, why are we talking about finance? What does it mean when a stock splits?
When a stock splits, basically it's you half the value of the share. So if you have $10 a share, then it's going to be $5 a share, and then there's twice the amount. So it's like the float theoretically is not affected. The overall value is not
So then
affected.
they cut the price in half, but you get double the shares.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's like you have one share at $10. All of a sudden, you have two shares at $5.
Right. Which isn't. It's funny. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, stock split." Yeah. That's not really on paper. That's not really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, people
but a lot
love-
of times it can generate.
Yeah, people love the
interest.
split. Like I remember back in
Yeah.
the '90s, Dell would
Yeah,
split.
Dell
You're like,
split.
yeah, they get so much. I always thought that it meant the price doubled or they had double shares or
No,
something.
see, that's the thing. A lot of people think that. So consequently, what happens is it does go up, but it's just because
Yeah,
people are confused.
that's bullshit. That's
It's bullshit, but it works. But it works. Sometimes if you just want to create a catalyst.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
It's like Buzz or something.
Baidu did it perfectly. Baidu does it all the time.
We devolved to finances while you're gone, Bernie.
We're talking about Facebook IPOs.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
We did devolve to Facebook. What do you think about the Facebook IPO?
What is it? $50 billion?
75 to 100.
75 to $100 billion dollars?
Estimated.
I don't know. It's where everybody is right now. I mean,
It's where everybody is, but that's what we were talking about. Like, there's no, you can't. They're not going to grow in terms of the amount of users they're going to bring in, but they could grow in terms of
Maybe
the
they
amount
could grow
of
in ads.
in ads, or I guess they take 30% of everything Zynga makes.
Jesus.
So
really?
yeah,
Wow.
Did you see the Forbes published an article about why Zynga should be allowed to wither and die? I mean, it was just like,
What?
I couldn't believe what magazine wrote this. It's
I
like,
wonder.
Wow.
I wonder how people in our community feel about Zynga. Like, I wonder if people in our community play those games or how they feel about it. Because I know a lot of traditional gamers, like people who
I wonder what-
we appeal to. Like a lot of the AAA title people don't really go for that stuff.
I
It's
wonder
a totally different market.
I mean,
It is
the Forbes article from January 9th is entitled "Why Zynga is Doomed."
I wonder what would happen if we had like a game type app on our site. Have we ever thought about anything like that?
Have we talked about what?
Like having games on our site, as far as like a Mafia Wars type game or something. I mean, some sort of like API built.
We have gaming built into everything that's on the site. So like we have gaming built into the leveling system on the profiles. So that it's got gaming elements in it, but we don't have specifically a game
Yeah.
built to put on there. I mean, first of all, obviously you can see the implications of Red vs. Blue for a long time was our most popular show. How do we have a game based on Red vs. Blue? Without that turning into like a much bigger discussion. And so yeah, we've talked about it. I know Matt was big on it in one of the redesigns about putting Flash games up and things like that. It just seems like I don't know
I'm curious as to what the users would think about that.
about Zynga.
About games.
About
honestly.
games. Like,
What do you think about games,
is there
Joel, on our video game website? I think they
I
like.
hate it.
Is Is there any way we can get Legends of the Red Dragon mixed in? Like, does anyone remember that game?
Like, in other words, like games like that are on Facebook right now. I wonder how they'd feel about games like that being on our site.
I don't know. You know, I have been on Facebook. I was a late adopter, a very, very late adopter of Facebook. I've never seen these games. Where do you go to get them?
They're on Facebook.
You like do a search.
Well, that's the thing. I've
like
never
in the search bar, you just type like Farmville.
So like I go to like Farmville, like it's a profile,
and you like
or-
and you like install this app. There's like a button, and it installs it.
So I'm going to go ahead and
on
say
your Facebook.
no one here has actually played one of those games.
I've never. I don't know what
I
Farmville is.
deny and block every single one, I guess.
Yeah, I've never played it either.
They talk to you, the games.
Yeah,
Well,
because
like-
then on your friends' feeds, it'll be like so and so's doing this, so and so's doing that, or so and so invites you to
Yeah.
help them make a
And
carrot.
this is a good time. This is a good time for me to say,
Make your own fucking
please,
carrots.
please don't invite me.
Well, you're the idiot who you've got 9,000 friends on Facebook, so you have no way to say no because you're the idiot who accepts everything.
Well, the Zynga stock price is doing pretty good.
I am going to
Talk about that out there.
defriend Jack though.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not friends with you on Facebook.
I'm
Joel.
not friends with you either.
I know that's how it works.
Thanks. What's the point? You see each other. Yeah, we're in the same fucking building.
No, but it's because I have it set up so you can do a friend request from friends of a friend.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. And Joel has 9,000 friends. I
do not have 9,000.
have 100. I have 100 friends. And in fact, I just deleted people to get back down to 100. I feel like that's a good number.
Well, aren't you popular?
That was my sort of approach to
What
Twitter.
do you mean?
I don't know. I'm being
How many
snarky.
do you have? Like a billion?
No, I'm cutting down. I think I have 2,000 currently.
2,000 friends?
No, I have 1,800.
1,800.
Yeah.
So they've got this timeline feature now on Facebook. I joined Facebook in like 2006. Mm-hmm. It was like basically like 6 months after it came to UT, I think.
Back when you needed an EDU email address to join Facebook?
That's why I liked it. I never I wasn't a big fan of MySpace. I never got on there, but I liked Facebook because it was set up where you had to be in college in order to get in.
I didn't understand that at the time.
And it was
I
great,
still don't understand it.
because it wasn't full of crappy bands and
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, marketing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a genius idea. I mean,
Target a niche, and it's a big niche.
and
then
then
go
exclude
from there.
people. Yeah.
And so, yeah. But
You were never on MySpace?
like briefly. I think I had a profile, but I never really did anything with it.
I never had a MySpace profile.
Yeah, my thing is, the thing about MySpace was like once I saw movies or bands being advertised as go to our website at myspace.com/ourcrappymovie. Like I knew that was going to be the downfall, and now I'm seeing that with Facebook. too.
Yeah. No, everybody. I think everybody. So I mean, it was so bad that it was interesting. I mean, it's like you could log on to MySpace and be like, wow, this is 20% worse than it was yesterday.
It's like essentially GeoCities.
Well, that's
it
what
was
happens when you put the creation tools in the hands of
Oh
the
God,
people.
yeah.
You get auto-playing music.
A lot of
Sparkle.
lessons to be learned from MySpace.
You know,
man.
Zay Frank actually had a contest to make the worst MySpace page you possibly could.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some really terrible ones, like animated GIFs and stuff.
Oh, you can.
embedded MIDIs.
The worst GeoCities page, just natural wild GeoCities page, probably worse than anything that was put into that contest.
Did you have a GeoCities site?
I did not.
Anybody
I
else?
always had my own
No.
domain name.
Yeah, me too.
I think it was geocities.com/Hollywood/lot/99901.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll fit on a business card. I don't know. Facebook is. I'm still kind of like I'm slowly adopting it. You know, it's just people. I mean, people post too much stuff. Honestly, people just post too much
Yeah.
stuff.
There's way too much personal stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Twitter and everything. That stuff sits there forever too.
Let's
That
figure
never
out-
goes away.
Who do you, this is always a thing. It's who do you think in this room has more tweets? We can go through the count right now.
I'm gonna guess Joel.
No,
wait.
no, it's not Joel.
All right, I'm gonna go.
I
look
bet
this
I'm
up.
last.
Joel, what's your Twitter name?
Joel Heyman.
It's definitely between Bernie and I.
Joel Heyman.
I'm gonna guess myself just
Joel
because
Heyman.
Bernie hasn't been on Twitter as long as I have.
I'm
I'm the only one.
You're
here.
right. You're probably the smarter.
Joel
guess.
has 492 tweets.
Not many.
What's your name, Gus, on Twitter?
Sorolla.
Sorolla. I'm looking up Sorolla.
Sorola.
Got it. And you,
Joel, what's your Twitter name?
I already looked them up.
Dead Space 2.
Okay.
Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing here.
I was trying to give you help, trying to get you some followers.
He said it already.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll
I'm just
help.
trying to help out. That's cool. Whatever.
All right, let's see here. Sorolla. You have.
What's yours?
Mine's Jack_P.
You have 2,151 tweets. Are you embarrassed by that?
Hell yeah.
Are you embarrassed by that?
No.
What do you, Jack?
How-
What's yours?
Jack_P.
Jack_P.
Because Jack P is a guy who used to work for Microsoft.
Now, what are you going to do? The guy who owns Bernie Gamertag is a guy who was in the Xbox Live launch team or something. Like you. Fuck, I keep screwing this up. Jack P.
What's P stand for?
Patillo.
Padelo.
Potato.
Patillo.
One of my favorite things to do is just mispronounce Jackson.
I used to do that all the time. I had so much fun. He hated it. He
hate
like
that.
overly hated it.
He's super sensitive
He does
about
it.
it.
I would call him Patillo. He
You have
hates that.
3,549 tweets.
Wow, that's fewer than I thought it was.
How many do you have?
I'll look it up.
3,500, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you, Bernie Burns or some shit?
I am Bernie Burns, all one word. Let me see here. So,
And while you're at it, why don't you follow at Rooster Teeth?
And actually, please do. And we do have one for RTX.
RTX event.
RTX event.
And,
so
and Achievement Hunt.
we should talk about that. An achievement hunt, yes. Is it Atch Hunt?
No, it's
Achievement
Achievement Hunt.
Achievement Hunt. Okay. I have 2,358.
Are you embarrassed by that? You asked me if I was
I should
embarrassed,
be.
and you've got more than
I've
you
got
have
200
like
more than you.
9% more on top of what I have. So fuck you.
So I,
But 500 of my tweets are to the live food girls.
I also
that's
bet you
fine.
signed up for Twitter after I did, because I signed up really early when it started.
Fine. That's something to brag about.
No, I'm just
You're
saying.
an early Twitter adopter.
You've tweeted more in less of a time.
Listen, I am probably the most conflicted Twitter user ever. I just can't. Something about it.
so when it comes to
See,
okay.
when Twitter first started, I hated it. I didn't get it, and I was wrong.
I
love Twitter.
I was sitting next to you the day you fell in love with Twitter.
Yeah.
You also, you probably don't reply to anybody on Twitter, Gus. That does not seem like your style.
He actually did this morning, as a matter of fact.
Occasionally, I will.
I mostly reply to people. That's what I do. I mostly reply because people ask questions on there, and I reply back to them. So I guess probably a third to half of my things are actual tweets of like,
Hey, I'm eating lunch. Does it count if you retweet stuff? Because I retweet stuff that I think is funny a lot. Like I
retweet a lot. People don't like when you retweet though.
really, I was making jokes about
I mostly
the Battlefield movie budget this weekend, and
Yeah, there's
people
some
made
good
some funny replies.
Battlefield budget? What's that?
No,
The Battlefield movie. I'm sorry, the Battleship movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Apparently, it has a $200 million budget.
what the fuck is that? And it's a spaceship, right?
I don't know.
It's
a spaceship
in
that's
water.
underwater that boats have to fight.
And this is all based on the board game, or the?
Yeah.
Is it a board? Can you call it a board game? I don't know.
So it's $200 million. I think the best pun was Brian, who works upstairs, said he wasn't sure if the movie was seaworthy.
Oh wow!
I thought that was good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I retweeted the shit.
Did you do what we did? Did you went
And I was like, oh, clever.
yes, play on words.
All right. So the moral of the story is I have more tweets than anyone here. I'm
What
sorry.
are you tweeting about? Let's get a sampling.
I'm
of
sorry
Jack,
for that.
Let's get a sampling of Jack P's wisdom.
Let's get the
I
Jack
don't even know
P flavor.
What have I said recently? God damn it! I got to look at my phone now.
You start deleting shit.
I know. Quick, hurry up before you guys find it all.
Jack's recent tweet: enjoying my time here at Geek Bowl. Only one video game question so far, and I got it right. Okay, so let's talk
You guys
about
went
that.
to Geek Bowl. It's a great springboard.
See, there you go. You're welcome.
That actually does play into something we did. So this weekend we went to Kathleen Sanders came down to
Who is
see
at
us.
Ninja Harlot?
No, let's not do this. Please, let's not do this. For everyone we talk about. But yeah, she came down to see us, and she invited us to go to. She's like, "Oh, I'm coming down. There's this trivia thing. You guys should come along." And like David Ellis was going to come, but then, people just get busy, very busy, especially because a lot of the team works at 343, and it's a Halo launch year. So, guess what? They're working. So it ended up to where she needed 4 people to fill in slots on this trivia team, and I said I can figure out something. So Jack, you came. Brandon came, and Barbara came.
Brandon, good luck.
Well, the funny thing was is that it turned out too. Then we ended up with 7 people that were there, and we said,
Did you break it into 2 teams? You only can have 1 team?
Well, we said we can only have 6 people, and Brandon immediately goes, "I'll leave." Like immediately, like he's like, "We're in line." He's like, he came all the way downtown. He goes, "I don't care. I was like, I'll take the bullet. Bye. See you, everybody. I'm gonna go drink." And so, thank God, because Brandon was a really cool dude. He made that process very, very easy on us, and we didn't have to have Brandon on our trivia team.
It's like your Achilles heel removed itself. It was like, bye. Like your weakness went away on its own.
Yeah, and if Brandon was here, he'd go, "What's Achilles? What is that?"
How'd you guys do?
So I'll just say the other day, or yesterday, Brandon got on AIM and asked me, he goes, "Do you know what a shuttlecock is?" So I'm guessing, I'm guessing that came up in something we won't talk about.
Well, no, we'll tie that in. I don't care. We'll talk about that. But
Okay.
we'll talk about it because it plays in nicely to this conversation. So we show up at this event. We wait in line, we get in, and somehow in the course of waiting in line to get in, trivia night turned into, oh, well, this is a thing called Geeks Who Drink. This is a national contest that they have in pubs all over the place. And this is the World Championships.
Oh.
And you're representing Seattle, our team. So we stepped in at the World Championship level.
Betraying Austin in the
we
process.
Did. We did. Oh, dude, every time they mentioned Seattle, I stood up and screamed like a maniac. Like, fuck yeah, Seattle! But,
I hope you took plaid.
dude, I got to tell you, first of all, Jack came out of the gate swinging. He was like half our first round.
Yeah, the first round, I got the very first question right. It was a Stone Cold, or it was Steve Austin question about wrestling. It was, what is his finishing move? It was the Stone Cold Stunner.
I bet Jack is a trivia fiend.
He did okay.
You know,
did okay.
My dad used to watch Jeopardy when I was a kid. And I would sit there and watch him just tear through that thing.
I got a really funny story to tell you about that, too.
And so anyway, I think that might just run in the family.
So I don't want to get I don't want to get on a tangent here, but I got to tell you a funny Jeopardy story. So at halftime, there's 8 rounds of 8 questions, approximately. Some of them were like a little bit longer. Like there was one that was like an 8-part question because it was named cast members from Sex and the City, which Barb just destroyed it. She did awesome. So we get the scores at halftime. We were tied for 3rd in the world.
Wow.
We were tied for 7th. So there were 6 teams in front of us, but we were in the 3rd group. There was like a 1, a 4, and then 7.
There's a couple times for first, a couple times for
You're
second.
still 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 3rd group of people.
3rd best score.
I just want to say.
3rd best score. Yeah. That's a good
There
way
you
to look
go.
at it.
That's a good way.
You guys got that
Come
question
on,
wrong.
Jack. How can you have that many tweets and not be a good marketer, self-promoter? How's that possible?
Well, because then someone's going to come in and be like, you weren't really. So I want to make sure we're all right.
That's a good internet voice.
That is good internet voice. So that was out of like what 200 teams, 200.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
That's
like-
really good.
Yeah.
Dude, we were kicking ass.
Yeah.
We kicked ass, and then
So how'd you fuck it up?
we fucking choked so bad.
Yeah, the second half we fell apart.
I forget. There was one round in particular we did really, really poorly in.
But there was a great round. There was one, you know that Jeopardy category where it's like you start a sentence with one thing and then ends it with another? Where let me just say what they gave you there. It was essentially like this Jeopardy sort of idea, except it was with like high class and then low class. And basically the answer they gave you was Moby Dick in a box.
Right.
So that was the answer to the question. There was like 2 different things.
Yeah,
it was like 2 Brazilian girls sharing a glass of poo on top of like a dome on top of another dome. So it was 2 girls, 1 couple. It was pretty clever.
It's Gus. Come on, it's a trivia contest. It's not going to be.
It was pretty funny though. So anyway, hey Bernie, I'm looking at the final scores. They finally put up the final list.
Shit.
So I'll say this: first place, like they had a tie for first place, so they actually had like a sudden death thing. The first place teams tied with 93 points.
Out of a possible what?
I don't know what the
Okay.
but that's the high. I'll say that's the high. The low score was 40. Out of like the lowest score in the whole thing.
Is this worldwide or just at the place you were?
Just the place we were.
Okay.
But this represents the
At
whole
the global championships.
Yeah. So we scored 76 points.
Okay, middle.
Yeah. So we did. I mean, above middle. So I don't know exactly.
No, middle.
I would say we came in about maybe 30th or so.
Yeah, that
looks
looks all right.
Oh, out of about 200 teams. That's
Yeah. It's
We're
pretty,
about 30th.
for no preparation. That's pretty.
not
good.
at all. Literally walking up like, oh, what are we doing?
How do you prepare for a trivia?
Yeah, read Wikipedia.
Were you allowed to throw things at the other tables, other
So
teams?
you said you couldn't use your phones,
Were you-
right?
were you
Like,
like-
you had to like power your phones off.
No,
or-
you like have your phone in your pocket, and they were serious. They had guys walking around. They had like the quiz masters watching you and stuff. If anyone pulled out a phone, you were
the
out.
quiz masters,
quiz
did they get to wear
masters.
hats? And they have like the fucking wizard hat with like stars and moons on it. Like,
No, like-
I master the quiz.
So like because all the quiz masters came in from all over the country too. Like they had a bunch in Austin, but they still flew in people from like Seattle, Colorado, Philadelphia, and like before.
So it was a nationwide cast of losers.
Take it easy.
Wow.
Take it easy.
I'm with you.
sorry, go ahead.
But before the whole event started, they had like this marching band come out, and like everyone had like flags. It was like the March of Nations.
What in the fuck? Are
It was
you
like
serious?
no, it was like the March of Nations
had a
where they had like
marching
signs
band?
and stuff. And then they got on stage and did what was that the anger thing the Hawaiians do or
no, they did. So they
The
did the
anger thing the
Did
Hawaiians
you guys
do?
go to the fucking Olympics?
like the Polynesian thing where
They
like
did the Maori war
there it
dance,
is.
the intimidation
Okay,
thing.
I could see the angry thing that Hawaiians do, the Maori war dance.
They did the
come on, you understand what I'm
Maori.
saying.
They did the Maori war dance at a trivia.
Yeah.
Were they Maori or were they just like...
One guy had his face all painted up.
But they would no, they weren't. They were just
Okay.
doing it. Yeah, that's
So-
pretty obscure. But I guess for the trivia contest, you can do obscure things that people will
What was
understand.
was everyone in the audience being like, "That's a Maori warrior"? Like,
Yeah, they were
Absolutely.
like, oh,
No, okay,
African
I know,
and Indian dance.
I know.
So
I know the correct answer.
The second round was a music round, this was really cool. So typically in the music rounds, what they do when they do it at the pubs, they just like play back something on a laptop or whatever. It's like it'll be like a cover of a song or something like someone from YouTube covering a song, and then you have to name the original artist and the song. So for this big event, there was 8 different questions during the thing. They had 8 different cover bands come up and perform it live there and like on stage, and then you had to get it. And so it was pretty cool. Like there was like a full orchestra performed Everlong by Foo Fighters. There was like a rockabilly band, the Johnny Cash. Glee Club from UT did an Eminem song. So it was kind of cool.
This is crazy.
It was fun.
It was serious. It was a big deal.
It was at the Austin Music Hall, right?
Yeah.
Listen, if you can get together 6 friends, they do these events all over the U.S. So just go to geekswhodrink.com. Because we had fun at the event, and we thought, fuck, we kicked ass. Why don't we go back? So we were talking with Jack and Barb about going somewhere this week.
And you're allowed to drink.
There's like 8 this week in Austin that they do these things. I mean, they're happening all the time.
The person who won the world championship has it for about a week.
No. It's you qualify over the course of a year.
Oh, I
which
see.
We didn't. We just
Yeah,
qualified.
you all must have really worked hard to qualify, huh?
We qualified by parking close and knowing somebody.
Stringent rules on the. I guess if you know somebody, that's yeah.
But there's some funny team names in here.
And so the winner got $1,000. Is that right?
$5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah. First place got 5,000. Second got
And it's
2.
It's a team of 6, huh?
Third got 1,000. So
Wow.
And second and third place were both Austin teams. Which is
And there was a lot of people who were like thematically dressed up. Like there was a team across from us that all had plaid shirts and mustaches and like mirrored sunglasses.
That's awesome.
And I gotta say, Jack and I were talking about this. There was a really cute girl who had a mustache. It didn't detract from her attractiveness at all. There was something weird about it. I don't know what to tell you there. I might be revealing too much.
So was it actually worldwide? Were there international teams there, or was it just like
It was definitely U.S. I mean, they had people from all over the U.S. I know that for sure. I don't know if
foreigners don't know shit about trivia anyway, right?
No.
No.
So there's a movie round where they showed clips from movies, and one of the movies was Monster Squad.
Kicked ass.
Yeah, we kicked ass on that one, by the way. But one of the movies was Monster Squad, and they showed the clip, and I heard the table behind us go, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, I turned, I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's Monster Squad!" And they had no idea.
You give them the answer.
You the answer,
around-
dummy.
No. I mean, once the
Why would you?
I think
You're
I didn't
Wait,
give away
wait.
the answer. I know that for sure.
Maybe there.
Stop talking over each other. So I had a buddy, Dave, in high school, in college, who would watch Jeopardy every fucking day. And he actually had this home, it was like a calculator, but it was a Jeopardy play-along device. Yeah, he had this thing, and he would use it, and he would play along. And so we go in there and watch Jeopardy with them, and we shout out to him, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." And so one day I hatched this awesome plan with his roommate where he couldn't watch Jeopardy one day because he had a test. He was an engineer, go figure. And so he had a lab or something that couldn't watch Jeopardy. So I said, okay. We recorded Jeopardy that day, and I watched it like 3 times. And then the next day we came in, and we started playing it. We recorded, so it was like 15 minutes early, so we just started playing it. And then he turns it on to watch Jeopardy, so he watches the previous day's Jeopardy. And I knew all the fucking answers. I thought he was going to die. He freaked out so bad. He's like, what? Because I was always the guy in there who was like, my joke that I always do is like say, this author wrote classic tales, including a tale about a obsessed captain and a whale. And I'd say, who is Bernie Burns? Like every question I would do that. He'd go, shut up, Burns, shut up. Every time. And so when he came in, I knew every answer to every question. Wow. He was like, I thought he was going to have a fucking conniption.
My standard answer when I don't know the answer is Muhammad Ali.
That's a good one.
It's like if your trivia, anything trivia, if I don't know, it's Muhammad Ali.
Do you know that I share a birthday with Muhammad Ali? Did we talk about that?
No.
Muhammad Ali have the same birthday as me.
Did you see the clip recently where someone answered Donkey Punch on Jeopardy?
Oh, yeah.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah. The correct answer was Rabbit Punch.
Yeah.
They said Donkey Punch. They were wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, they got that wrong.
You know, one of the names of the teams that was in the Geek Bowl was Big Trouble in Little Vagina. There's also
I think Team Dong came in second place overall. So
there's also another great team name. It's Words That End with Andwich. Anyway, it was fun. So I would definitely recommend going.
You said there's like 8 of them in town this week?
Yeah.
Geekswhodrink.com.
There's one at the Highball. I know there's one at a place called Mr. Tramps. Actually, my old roommate is one of the quizmasters here in Austin. So
Does he have a hat?
By the way, I've heard this fact 1,000 times. He keeps saying this over and over again.
Gus, have you heard this 1,000 times?
And when the guy even came up on stage, because he was part of the event, like Jack was he was across the table from me, and I heard this noise. He was so happy. So quiz is in Texas, and I can narrow it down to Austin. There's there's 3 on Sunday in Austin, this Sunday. So I'm sure you can find one of these events in your hometown, especially if you're in a particularly geeky city, I would think.
Yeah.
You can find it.
That's crazy.
Damn. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about, because this is a nice segue from talking about trivia. So we just recorded 2 more episodes of, I don't know what to call this series, but the What Do You Know series.
Oh, okay.
The one where we sat down with Ben and we talked with him about American history, and he didn't know anything about it. So we've been slowly figuring out what everyone in the office doesn't know about. Like for Brandon, it's Earth. you know? And then so, but we actually, I gotta say, the second person we tried to do this with was Brandon, and we tried to ask him science questions. He actually did really well. In fact, to the point where it's like, okay, I guess we can't use this. I mean, he knew all the answers, all the questions. However, we sat down with 2 other people this week, and they didn't know shit about anything. And they had some really, really funny answers.
I've heard some rumblings about some of the stuff that happened back there. I can't wait to see the video.
Yeah, so those will be coming soon.
I don't want to watch any of the raw footage. I'd rather just wait for it to be cut for my enjoyment.
Brandon told me he had 50 minutes worth of an interview footage of one of the people you guys talked with. So
Wow.
That's rough. I don't know how you're going to cut that down to 4 minutes.
Well, we'll see. I mean, one of the guys we talked to was Chris. I don't mind revealing. And Chris just talks. You talked about this one time in one of the RTAA.
It's uncanny. Like, his pauses are unbelievable.
He will pause for a long time. So that's easy to edit out.
I'm glad to see people will. Oh no, if they're going to edit it out, it's like be interesting for people to see.
That could be like a sponsor version, just like nothing but pauses.
Just cut all the pauses. Yeah.
Let me think about this.
He's really bad about ordering. There's no question about it.
Speaking of animated adventures, the RT animated adventure shirts should be coming out today.
Yay.
I haven't checked to see if they're actually in the store, but we have, I believe, 4 or 5 different shirts.
I know someone in Seattle who's going to be very excited about that.
But so if you're interested in Rooster Teeth animated adventures, you should check out the store.
Did you not see that yesterday, Bernie? You don't read Twitter very often, do you?
What happened? Oh, Allison?
There you go.
Stroll? Yeah.
Miss Allison Stroll up in 343 Industries. Very excited about RTAA shirts.
Yeah.
You always have to be careful about doing this because when people say, "Hey, Jack, you look just like who?" Who do people tell you look like?
I used to get, honestly, back in the day when I was in high school, I used to get James Vanderbeek.
James Vanderbeek?
Okay, can't see that.
Before I wore glasses.
Can't see that either. Joel, who do you get? People tell you look like who?
I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from Jack's answer.
Fuck you.
I know, it was kind of shocking.
What? You guys are assholes.
The guy who ate James Vanderbeek.
All right, fuck you guys. I'm out.
No, you're not. Sit down. Be quiet.
In high school, I used to get Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
And then later in life, I got Seth Rogen. So where the fuck did I go wrong? That's what I want to know. Something changed for me.
I get Animal.
Animal from Muppets. What, do you get anything at all, Joel? Who do you look like?
That dude from Bones.
I get. You know who I would say if I looked at you? People tell you look like Keanu Reeves.
I used to get that.
Yeah, especially because Joel has this like ankle length trench coat that he wears sometime.
I've never seen this.
He does. He wears it's like a cape / trench coat. It looks like something from The Matrix. Do you know what I'm talking
How
about?
have you not brought that to Vegas? I just want to see why.
How did you?
Because that thing is impossible to pack.
How did you not wear that thing to Edmonton when we went up there?
Because when he pulls it out of the suitcase, it makes this noise. Whoosh. It comes with its own sound effects.
And everything's slow.
It does it in slow motion. You have to walk around it.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, techno music plays.
Goes, dude.
But you always have to be careful when you tell somebody that they look like somebody because you could unintentionally insult them. However, Allison Stroll, this time of year, I always know it's Sundance time of year because all of a sudden Allison Stroll starts showing up in all my news feeds, and then I realize, oh, it's not Allison Stroll, it's Parker Posey. Because I think she's a dead ringer for Parker Posey.
Yeah.
See that?
Who is always at Sundance for whatever reason. Parker Posey is always at Sundance.
There's an employee at the Starbucks near our office that kind of reminds me of Allison Stroll every time I see her. The one over there in South Park Meadows.
There's a guy who works at Rudy's who's a dead ringer for Marshall here at the office.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that guy.
Marshall,
Spot on.
Yeah, there's a lot
Marshall
of
may
guys
be moonlighting at Rudy's, by the way.
Marshall and Matt, I feel like I see them all the time.
Yeah.
My wife says that about Matt.
Yeah, no, I see them, especially like in traffic. Like any guy driving.
Everybody reminds her of Matt.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 different people in the gray reminded her of Matt.
Maybe he just gets
I
around.
think I know
you
it's
know?
one of the guys you're talking about.
Yeah.
God,
Heinrich.
the Gray is such a good movie.
Gray is such a good movie.
Ugh.
I wanna go
You
see
remember
it.
when we were down in Buda? There was this hardware store right across the street from our office that then when they built the Home Depot at the highway, this is a sad small town story. They built a Walmart and a Home Depot out by the highway. We were about a mile in, and it shut down like all the local owned businesses there. There was a local hardware store and Home Depot got built, so they converted to a barbecue place, which was weird. A barbecue place that sold hardware.
Well, they're like,
guess they had a bunch
they're
of
like,
wood.
What's the one thing that Walmart can't sell? You know,
Barbecue. Yeah. And they had an awesome thing there called the
Big Oak Philly?
That's what it was, Big Oak Philly. And it was a cheesesteak sandwich, but it was made with brisket instead of like steak.
And it had jalapenos on it and barbecue sauce.
That sounds awesome.
So good.
It was awesome.
It was so good, and it was great. But there was a dude who worked there who was really, really quiet, and he looked just like Russell Crowe. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
yeah, that guy. That guy was...
We were convinced it was Russell Crowe.
And because he never said a word, and
did
you
he
tried
have
to
a
talk to
band?
him, and he just looked down, and he wouldn't say anything. I was like, this is Russell Crowe studying for parts. That is Russell Crowe right there.
Do you remember? And then one day he finally did talk to us. He was like, what do you guys do? We're like, oh, we kind of mentioned that we work in video games. And he was like, I used to be a professional Counter-Strike player. And we were like, what?
Dude in
I
downtown
remember
Buda.
this story. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I played Counter-Strike professionally for like a year or two.
I had to give it up.
Yeah.
I had to give up the life. And then I was like in some hardware store in Buda.
He was like, he was like some middle-aged Russell Crowe lookalike.
It was
in a small
crazy.
town.
It was crazy how much that dude looked like Russell Crowe. Crazy. Now, every time we talk about Buda, every single time, I want to get in the car, drive down Buda, and go eat Garcia's chicken. And I know Joe will go with me.
You know it's funny because if you get Garcia's fried chicken at Garcia's, it's like the greatest dish ever. But if you get it to go and you wait about 20 minutes, not nearly as good. It like coagulates.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, and it's weird. You've never seen a food go from the best food in the world to not really very good food in
I
about
can
20
tell
Well,
minutes.
the best food. The problem is the best food has a lot of fat in it, and then when that cools down, you don't want. you don't want
No,
it.
it's funny. It like hardens into
Yeah.
just this brick of I don't know. You want it to harden inside.
Yeah, you want it to harden in the arteries.
In your
Near
body.
the heart.
You want that. Yeah.
But don't you also find there's some foods, like if you just delay eating them for like a few minutes, they get exponentially better?
Yeah, it's like when you get a steak off of the grill, you don't touch it at first.
Well, that's specifically for steak, yeah.
But I mean, that's one of the foods.
let it
Are you talking about like
let
letting
it
something
rest.
rest overnight?
I'm talking even like a cheeseburger. Not rest overnight.
I don't know.
But like a cheeseburger, like if you let a cheeseburger sit for like 5 or 6 minutes, it like gets better. What there's
Because
something-
it bleeds.
There's something about the gravity
bleeds
too.
into itself.
When you eat a cheeseburger, like the gravity, the last 2 bites of a cheeseburger are like the best
Yeah.
ever.
It's like
because
as you're
the-
picking up, the cheese is like slowly
Yeah,
sliding to the back.
the bun gets compromised
Is that what it is?
by all the juice and
There's
inner goodness of the burger.
a structural integrity failure,
That's exactly what it is. The shields on the buns fail.
The shields on the buns fail.
and in comes the flavor.
It comes the flavor. Pizza's always better the next day, I think.
I had the stupidest fucking friend in middle school who tried to tell me why cold pizza was better than hot pizza.
Uh-huh.
I was like, just take a cold pizza and put it in the fridge. And I was like, I would never do that. Pizza's good enough by itself. He goes, no, because the next day it tastes better and it's more nutritious. I was like, why would it be more nutritious? He goes, because when you cook stuff, it loses nutrients. Like, you fucking idiot. Do you think it's not cooked if you refrigerate it? I mean, does it like reabsorb nutrients?
I think we all had like that idiot friend in elementary and middle school. For me, I remember I got into an argument once with my idiot friend because he tried to convince me that all birds are reptiles. And I asked him, how
Was this
can-
when Jurassic Park came out? Is this around
No, this was like in
Before?
God. This must have been 89 or
Uh-huh.
so, maybe 90. And I was like, "How can you say all birds are reptiles?" He goes, "Do they have fur?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, they're not mammals, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "There must be reptiles."
process of elimination?
I was like, "Okay, yeah."
When Jurassic Park came out, he was the guy in the theater goes, "See,
Stand
I told
up.
you."
Yeah, God.
Oh man.
But
what'd you
I
do?
miss. I miss. I don't know, like that level of ignorance. I feel like we have a little bit of it with Brandon, but like being able to talk to someone who's like so wrong and so convinced that they're right.
How, by the way,
That's when the magic dies.
can I ask you a question? Speaking of the lack of ignorance in our life, which, by the way, we don't know. How many mistakes a week do we make on the
that's the thing.
podcast?
We don't know. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. shit. I was going to mention this last week. I don't know why I didn't, but it's like everything I say, there's a big asterisk.
Oh,
in
speaking
front of it.
of
Like,
which,
yeah,
I mentioned last week during we were talking about Golden Globes that it was Trent Reznor and Atticus Finch who did the score for Girl with Dragon Tattoo. It's Atticus Ross. Atticus Finch is from
How to Kill a Mockingbird.
How to Kill a Mockingbird.
Or not How to Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
No, we don't know. It's true. We don't know shit.
Anyway,
but the difference is between us and someone who's younger is that we don't know shit.
How to
but-
Kill a
but-
Mockingbird is an instructional manual.
You deflate.
We just have a big megaphone.
Yeah. Make a
Well,
megaphone
it's
for
easy to
stupid.
sound like an authority when you're talking about topics like dolphin hand jobs. It's like, who's going to step in
Who's
and
going to
correct
research
you?
this?
Well,
I know one dude from the '60s who could probably refute anything I say.
How long does a dolphin live?
how can we find that woman? Do you think she's alive?
She might be on Facebook.
About 8 hand jobs.
Define alive.
What's
I
her
mean-
profile photo?
If it's her at SeaWorld, I'm gonna be super
I mean,
disturbed.
what has she done in the time since then? I mean, she's chasing that dragon. That's 4 decades of like trying to match that experience
That's
in life.
5 decades.
5? Is it really 5 decades?
Yeah, the 60s. We're in the
Yeah,
2010s.
that was 47 years ago.
Can I say something too?
damn.
I can't believe I let this go this long. So a couple podcasts ago, Gus made this thing that we've been making the podcast in 5 years.
This is the 5th year of doing the podcast.
This is the 5th year of doing the podcast.
Okay.
He's a fucking idiot. That is just the most arbitrary.
Is it
subjective
or
math.
is it not the 5th year though?
Listen, okay.
Are we back to the 1-0
Did we,
argument?
did we-
you had now?
did we start in December and then like?
So
Yes.
Okay.
So we started, and he says this in January of 2012.
Okay.
So we started. What was the year we started?
December 08.
December 08. So we started December 08.
I think we went 1 out in 08 in
We
December.
went 1 out, and then we make 2009, 2010, 2011, and then we make one podcast in 2012 because we've been now making the podcast in 5 different years. No, we've been making it 3 years. I mean,
but
that's
we-
it.
No,
that's not what I said.
No, in 5 different years.
Yes.
That's correct. That is correct.
So when you let's say we start the fucking podcast.
all right, let me-
okay.
all right,
Marketing. We've been doing the podcast for 5 years.
Were you tied for third or were you not tied for third?
Exactly.
I had your back. You got to have mine on this one.
Listen, if we start making the podcast in December of 2008, then the following week we make one in January 2009. We haven't been making the podcast for 2 years.
Yeah, we have.
We've been making 2 weeks. We've been making 2 weeks.
It's not wine.
The glass is half full.
What's that?
The glass is half full.
No, you have a drop of water in the glass, and you're like, the glass is totally full. Let's all have a fucking party.
Well, here's the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Were those podcasts any good?
Well,
Probably not.
We
Or
recorded
any
and
podcast good?
deleted several podcasts before we ever put any of them out because we thought we had to be more structured. Yep. Somebody came at me.
The average lifespan of a dolphin is 25 years.
Somebody came at me this weekend, and they said that our podcast is too long.
Yes. Yes.
And that it needs to be more edited because we go off topic too much. And to that person, I was like,
What is the topic?
We have a topic on this.
yeah,
show?
we're way off from our original topic of dolphin penis and dolphin rape. Can we please go back to that, guys? We've gotten way
Stay
off
on
track.
topic. Stay on topic.
People keep asking me, well, I shouldn't say people keep asking me, but people regularly ask me, do you have, like, a list of things you want to talk about when you go into recording the podcast? And I'm just like, have you listened to it? Like, there's no way I could have bullet pointed any of this.
I do every week. I have a list that I make here every single week.
I don't.
And
I don't,
we
yeah.
talk about one item, and then it's all gone. Like, here's the stuff.
So we are off topic.
Okay, I haven't talked about Willie, my Vegas cab driver. I haven't talked about the Austin asshole that I ran into. The rare bird, the Austin asshole. I ran into a fucking asshole in Austin. And I also didn't talk about the Yell video that I wanted to talk about.
Bernie found a mirror.
It's like watching a bird fight with itself, or like a cat, like, get all angry at its reflection.
Fuck you guys. I'll take this. Did you ever see the Yell video? It's
No, I
the
don't-
French singer Yell.
I don't think so.
Man, I showed it to Jack. It is this guy who dances. Listen, if you're making video for...
This guy's he's made a bunch of videos.
if you're making-
We've been over this. I know what point you're about to make. We've been over this before, but go ahead.
Okay, if you're making an
Thank you,
online... Thank you,
I
Jack.
want to highlight. We've talked about this.
I just want to establish I know what you're talking about.
No.
And move along.
No, we're angry about this because no one's listening. The first time we talked about it, no one listened.
This
Had
is
they
a-
listened to the podcast?
This
Stop talking.
This is an awesome video. Just waiting for him to interrupt again. I get like post-traumatic stress from him interrupting. This video it's like essentially a dance video set to a song, and it's awesome, right?
Yes, it's very awesome.
But it doesn't officially like start until 2 minutes in, and you have to really suffer.
So it's not awesome.
It's a French word. It's
Schadenfreude.
no. It's come on enfant. Come on enfant. It's like a kid, but in French it's COMME. Another word UN enfant. ENFANT. But look up Yell. YELLE. Okay.
Oh, that's the name of the song.
That's the name of the song.
Okay.
Anyway, so it's a dance video, and the editing in it is crazy. But there's this 2-minute intro in the beginning of the video where nobody on YouTube is going through 2 minutes. And this video has like 300,000, maybe 400,000 views, but it's because of that goddamn 2-minute intro. I guarantee it.
what happens in the intro? Just credits?
It's like a little skit.
Oh,
It's like a little skit.
So
don't do that.
if I wanted to watch the video, could I just start at 2 minute 1 second and get enjoyment out of it, or should I start at 0 and suffer through the first 2 minutes?
I would start about a minute 50 in. Yeah, I'd start about a minute 50 in. You're not missing much, but it's still fun.
Once the music kicks in, that's when you.
Oh, there's not even any music at first?
No.
No, it's a skit. He does like a little skit.
It's like setting
is
up.
this
for
like
the
a
music.
variety show?
But I can absolutely tell you, this video is definitely worth watching. It is just infectiously happy. I don't know what it is about it, but it's
There's some
I hate
edits
it
in it.
already.
There's some cool like little minor special effects that are really really neat.
there's some edits in that video that are I think might be some of the best edits I've ever seen.
Yeah, like match cuts that are insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing worse than watching like a gaming video on YouTube where it's like 30 seconds of someone's name spinning around with animated graphics and stuff like that. It's like just start the goddamn video. Just show me what you're trying to show me.
Or like a podcast with a different intro every week. But you don't know how long you have to wait through it.
Yeah, well, some of your intros are like
4 seconds long too, so they're not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, somebody sent me. We can mention Twitter again. Somebody sent me on Twitter.
What's your Twitter account, Bernie?
Please, let's not need to go there. Go to Rooster.com, please, and send it there. They sent me that we were #1 gaming podcast on UK. Like #1, like not even taking out like NPR or anything. Like, I guess there's no NPR in the UK iTunes.
Wow.
So, I mean, we're always the #1 video game podcast on iTunes, but that's because we're not #1 in games and hobby because of that NPR
Car
show.
Talk and Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Wait, Don't Tell Me is the one that always beats us.
I'm going to fucking kill Garrison Keeler if I ever see him. No, that's not him. He's a Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
Just kill
you
them all.
take them out.
I got someone sent me a message the other day. I guess they were listening to our they listen to our podcast, and they listened to the episode where we had the Certain Affinity guys on when Halo Anniversary Edition came out, and they were talking about how they got started in the gaming industry. And I guess this listener was like, "Oh, fuck it, I can do that." So he applied for a job at Certain Affinity and started there this week.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah, they hired him.
awesome.
Wait a minute.
So the podcast has gotten more jobs than Obama.
One of the people who interviewed him at Certain Affinity was actually one of the people who was on our podcast.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So he listened to the podcast, listened how the Certain Affinity guys got started in video games, and said, "I can do that," and did it.
Yeah, I don't think he's even from Austin.
That's all. Where's he from?
I don't remember, but he's
awesome.
he's moving to Austin now to start working at Certain Affinity.
Do you know what he does?
great.
No, I don't know. I think it's programming.
Video
Okay,
game stuff.
does Certain Affinity know this? The guy is coming here? Are we
Hopefully.
sure about this story?
I haven't verified with Certain Affinity, but it seems like a stretch.
One of the Certain Affinity guys' stories was not, "I killed someone and wore their skin to work," right? Hopefully that wasn't the story. We had a guy, we knew a dude. It's the guy who plays Donut, Dan. And we worked at the tech place where we worked before. We'd hire people all the time. Do you know how Dan came to work at the tech
I
company?
think I know the story. Yeah.
He just showed up for training one day. He didn't even interview. Or he turned in the application, they were waiting for his interview, and he said, "I'll just show up for the training." And he just showed up.
He just walked in and said he was there for training.
That's awesome.
Filled out the new hire paperwork, and it just...
No, he didn't fill out the paperwork. Wasn't that it? Like, that's how we caught it? Because like payroll came around, and you were like, "Who the fuck is this guy that I have to write a check for? I don't have any of his paperwork."
And the weird thing is that because he had done this, we all thought, okay, well, if you got...
That's a go-getter right there.
But by then he was already working and doing an okay job. It's like, all right, fuck it. Let him keep doing it.
Oh, my God. We hired...
That's the most valuable life lesson.
That
the
being
podcast has
said,
ever
Rooster
taught.
Teeth is not big enough for someone to try to sneak in
Yeah,
and do
we-
that.
we would notice you.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
Have we ever held a training session at Rooster Teeth? Ever?
I think we did one for the lift, right? Didn't Brandon try doing one for
That
the...
is correct. No, we had to do that for insurance purposes. You
There
are
you go.
right, Jack. We had to have a training for the lift.
And I think he recently sent out a notice saying he can refresh people's lift training because I think some people have been using it incorrectly.
We have a scissor lift that allows us to reach the ceiling in the studio, which is, I think, 25 feet, 28 feet at the top. So we go way up on that scissor lift. It was funny. The day we got it, we couldn't keep people off it. Now it just kind of sits there. It's like it's always funny how something just becomes passe after.
I've actually...
Yeah, it was
I've never been on that thing.
Me neither. It was in the Dastardly Painter short
Yeah.
from season 3 of RT Shorts.
I've seen too many accidents on sets. I just try and steer clear of that stuff.
What accidents have you seen on sets?
Oh, lots of them. A lot of them aren't necessarily associated. Like the scissor lift wasn't the direct culprit, but I've seen people on scissor lifts getting in a lot of trouble.
I saw a guy. Well, I was there when a guy cracked his head on some concrete. Like he was, it was a lighting guy. He was installing some lighting, got shocked, and just like went tense, fell off a ladder, and hit his head on a concrete floor. And he cracked his skull. He didn't bleed or anything, but he broke his head, and they had to get an ambulance pull him out. And
Fuck a
everything.
duck, really? Wow.
It was like the day before we were going to start shooting too, and it was just like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen?
There's a guy on
now?
X-Files, an electrician that was on a scissor lift outside and got electrocuted, and it happens a lot. And
It's wild.
a lot of those guys, it's like they have scissor lifts and things that are even bigger that go higher, and a lot of those are for exterior shoots. And a lot of those electricians, basically what happens is every time you see one of those giant stands and the light's really big, they have to have somebody up there with the light. So they put an electrician on the scissor lift, and you're up there for 6 to 8 hours until you break for lunch, and then you break for lunch, you come all the way back down, and then you go back up. And a lot of them are like night shoots where you're like, it's snowing and it's the wind is howling and you're just up there freezing, and it's like you have to go to the bathroom, you go to a cup. It's like, I don't know. Well, I have a lot of negative memories associated with scissor lifts.
That's the beauty of Hollywood, right there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of telco guys are get hurt by stuff like that too, and they have to climb utility poles, and you can inadvertently touch the wrong wire.
There's something about industrial equipment that I just don't want to like get near. I put my when I was in college, My thumb went into a table saw
Ooh.
at one point. So that was a fun day. And I had a skin graft on the end of my thumb.
really?
So, yeah.
Remember last year the kid at Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about.
He was up on one of those scissor lifts, or I think
He tweeted just before he died.
what was his account? Sorry.
let's-
That's too
let's
soon.
not even-
That's too soon. Sorry.
No, he tweeted something about it was like it's really windy up here. It's pretty scary, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that was like the last thing he wrote.
That's so fucking terrible, dude. That's so terrible.
yeah.
Because you know that kid too. He's like, he probably was legitimately scared. Thought it was concerned. He just thought he had to man up, and stay up there.
That's something everyone has to do. Or,
Right? Yeah.
It's really bad because it's true. When you're at the top of one of those things and the wind is blowing, those things really do sway a lot, and you really do feel it.
Was he on a
scary.
scissor lift or was he on like a scaffolding?
I think it's one of those cherry pickers, so it's like a scissor
okay.
lift goes straight up,
Yeah.
and then the cherry pickers are like the cranes that go out with a basket on the end.
Yeah, it's like what you see like utility people working on power lines.
He was filming like Notre Dame football practice. Right?
Yeah. And it was heavy winds toppled the whole damn thing over, which I mean must have been horrific.
That's gonna be fucking windy.
No kidding, man.
53 miles an hour according to
Wow.
New York Times.
Did you see the footage from inside the Dallas Cowboys practice
Yeah.
stadium when it collapsed on everyone?
That was like 2 years ago,
No,
right?
that was. Are you talking about the Minnesota?
No. It was
No,
at the
it was-
Dallas Cowboys practice.
Yeah, the
How
practice
many
field.
football stadiums are collapsing?
They had one of those inflatable, like the inflatable things, like we have up in, like here in Austin, like the Longhorns have one, and it just collapsed, and like the scaffolding from inside of it all fell out or fell down, and I think 2 or 3 people died.
Did they die? I thought they were just seriously hurt.
No,
Wow.
a couple.
Yeah.
At least one guy died. I know for sure.
Yeah, there's footage of the Minnesota Superdome. Is that what it's called? Superdome up there where when it got a lot of snow and it had video footage.
I remember
from
that.
inside of the
It
stadium. where-
wasn't. It's not the Superdome. The Superdome's in New Orleans.
Yeah, what's it called?
It's
It's the Minnesota.
Thunderdome.
See, I was thinking of Thunderdome too. Snowdome at this point.
Well, did you see that ice skating rink in Russia or somewhere that recently like it was the same sort of deal where the snow on top of this building collapsed it from the inside?
I don't know what it is. It's like anytime it's like you get an internet video and it's from Russia, it's like, oh, this is gonna be good.
You see some fucked up stuff.
Did we talk about the people who made the swing off the top of the apartment
Yeah,
complex?
yeah, we
Oh
linked
my
it and
God. Did you link
everything.
that?
Yeah.
God. Throw a girl off the top of an apartment building.
Don't do that. Count 3D sent me a video of a drunk guy. I'm just gonna have to show it to you, but oh god, it's freaking ridiculous. Where a guy falls one flight of stairs.
Oh, I've seen
like
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
oh man,
He like halves himself on the second.
yeah.
He
rail.
like leans over the railing. Yeah.
man.
It's like how many ribs were cracked in that?
Yeah. At first, I was like, oh, well, he's gonna land. He's like doing it on purpose, and nope.
No. The funnest part is like, hey, check this out, and then someone sends you a video. And it's like, check out these drunk people, and it's like, just like the first 3 seconds of the video, all you see is people drinking, and it's like you start taking in all the danger around. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Oh, there's some stairs over there. That looks bad.
Does anyone have a lighter? Is there anything going
It's
on?
always
You create like a mental heat map. Like, well, which direction is this gonna go in? Like, there's a few different possibilities here.
What is the craziest accident you've ever heard of?
Well, was one time this dolphin was living in a house with a woman.
that was an accident. There's an old myth about a guy a long time ago who, and I guess they've debunked it, but it's still a crazy story. Where a guy who's in a war and he got shot in the testicles,
Okay.
and the bullet went through his testicles and then landed in the stomach of a woman, and then she got pregnant.
This is like third grade recess.
It's like
Yeah, I'm sure Snopes would have some things to say about this story.
I already told you it was already debunked. But
Oh.
interesting though.
No, God, really.
There was a story about this kid.
Not really. No. All right, hit me.
His dad was Darth Vader. I remember, like, the back of the bus, you'd always hear the horror stories and stuff. Like, his dad was a cop, and, like, he claimed they were chasing a guy on a motorcycle one time, and they came into an intersection with a red light, and one of those 18-wheelers that has all the cars on it, like, they stack the cars on, like, the trailer.
You're right.
The one when they're empty, you always want to ride up it like a ramp?
Yeah. So one of those pulled out, and the motorcycle, like, couldn't, like, just turn and just went right through it. And it's like it was basically they collect pieces of the guy on the
It would
other
be
side
awesome.
of it.
It'd be awesome if the guy like landed in one of the cars and drove it away.
That's better. See?
Yeah.
And then he was pregnant. Then he was pregnant after that.
Why do you ask? I have the feeling you have a horrible story you're about to
This
share.
is whenever anyone talks about a freak accident, I always think about this. And Joel talking about that freak accident before I just immediately went and looked this up.
Was it someone jumping into a lake and there was a pipe in the water?
So it's one of those things that sounds at first like an urban legend. That's what I did, by the way. Jack's referencing I broke my leg a week before I graduated from high school by jumping in water with a huge 8-foot pipe.
I think you told this story on the podcast a couple times.
Yeah.
Dumbass. I broke my left ankle and I drove a clutch car home that night. Standard car. That was a lot of pain.
Man up.
My girlfriend dumped me too. My dance team girlfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
All right, so
Continue.
No,
Horrible
no,
story.
hold on. Let me
Mental image going on.
Let me wallow in the
Some reminiscing.
Let me wallow in the bitterness here. See, she was a little more religious than I was, so she went to a church lock-in to celebrate the end of school. And I didn't tell her I was going to this party where I broke my leg. And then the rumor went around that I broke my leg by falling into a hot tub. Not the case. Way stupider than that. How do you break your leg falling into a hot tub? Anyway.
that's always
If anyone could do it,
So she broke up with me. And she went back with her ex-boyfriend that she was dating before she was dating me. And then they got married. And I'm sure they're very happy. Good for them.
So it's this horrible accident.
So this is what I was thinking about too. Is
that was the story, right?
Yeah.
that was a horrible accident where the dance team girlfriend got away.
and then he shot him and she got pregnant.
That's exactly right. It's a very radical insemination procedure that they had to engage. So there was this doctor in Houston who was rushing for an elevator that one of his colleagues was in.
See, I already know where this is going. Yeah.
And the elevator malfunctioned. He got his head stuck in the door, and then the elevator went up and cut off his head.
Oh.
So his
Like it popped it off his body, or
Yep. And so his colleague is then in, like, this happened instantaneously. His colleague is then in the elevator with his severed head.
I've heard this. This has happened several times. Apparently,
happened in 2003.
there's a lot.
This guy.
This happens. Yeah, a lot. Apparently, well, I don't want to say a lot, but it's like enough. I have like a phobia of it now.
Aren't there
like, every time I get
safeguards
in and
on
out-
elevators?
Yeah,
God, don't show me a photo. Okay.
true on Snopes.
It can.
True on
I thought you were
Snopes.
going to show me a photo. I was about to be
There
terrible.
are like the clamps or whatever, but it's like they can. A lot of them can still drop like 3 feet.
What are you talking about with the clamps?
No, I'm saying
Like,
like
if a cable breaks on an elevator, it can grab.
No, he's
onto
talking
it.
about safety stuff for the doors closing.
yeah, like if you put your if the door's closed and you put your arm in to stop it, it opens back up.
Yeah.
How does it not open back up when you shove your head in there?
Maybe it malfunctioned.
First of all, how do
maybe
you
it
adjust
malfunctioned.
your head in there?
Although I have been in
He
a
was
couple,
really
I have
rushing
been in,
for it.
I have been in a couple elevators, especially in Vegas. I don't know what the deal is, where it's like the door's closing. It's like, oh, I'll just put my hand in there. It's like, no, the door's closing. It's just like the door's just going to close on my hand.
When I went to Japan, one of the things I discovered and that I loved about the elevators there is when you hit the door close button, the door fucking
the door
closes.
closes.
Dude, that is an American myth of the door closed. Why do they put the door close button in the elevators if it doesn't do anything?
I think what I've heard is that it's for when the elevator's in emergency mode, like when they set it to firefighter mode, they can close doors.
Bullshit.
That it works then.
Get rid of that fucking button. Get rid of it. I don't like that. I
And
don't
they
like
have
that.
to sell it internationally. Apparently, in some countries, it works just fine.
I've been in places where it's worked.
Yeah.
And I use it.
I
all-
feel
it's
like
awesome.
yeah. I feel like it worked. It
that.
doesn't-
No, it's a placebo. It's the way they fuck with
That's
you.
always one of the mysteries, right?
It's all- it's a
Also,
system
when you're
of
like,
control is what it is.
yeah,
It's how they control you.
But they give
Thank
you
you,
the
Alex
illusion
Jones.
of control.
But it's funny because I thought about the story with the elevator because Joel was talking about a freak accident. This is like my seminal freak accident.
I don't know what it is now. Every time I get in and out of elevators, it's like I'm gonna walk across this threshold, and the second that I'm halfway through, the elevator's gonna fall, and I'm gonna be sliced right now.
Yeah, that'd be like Hellraiser, like some kind of moment.
That'd be horrible.
You ever see that movie Cube? That shitty.
yeah.
Guy gets sliced into cubes.
There was a video recently of a guy walking his dog, and he gets into an elevator, and
saw
the
that.
elevator door shuts, and he's holding the leash as it starts going up.
He's like checking his mail, and he doesn't notice the dog doesn't get in the elevator with him. This is what I was talking about. And so they have footage from inside the elevator, and then footage from the lobby, and you just see the dog start going up the elevator doors as he goes up. And then it's okay though; it ends well because the dumbass guy, I think he really gets hurt. Like he gets yanked into the door and he hits his head, and he had the leash wrapped around his wrist.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, and he gets really hurt, and the dog's just running around the lobby.
Yeah,
And-
like
Yeah, I think the leash or the collar or something broke.
Yeah.
That's what the dog was. The funny thing about that is, like, the dog's freaked out, obviously, and then there's like a woman who's like trying to take care of him, and then he sees like the next elevator open, the one next to it, and he tries to run into that one. But he's like, what the fuck just happened?
There was a story in Boston. Actually, they made a script about it, but it was based on a real story of a guy in a subway who fell sort of onto the tracks, but his body was sort
yeah.
of between the train.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah, between the train and the concrete, basically, and basically had sort of planted in them. This is a bad story, right?
It's all terrible.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
But he was so basically his lower half gets twisted around a lot, and it's to the point where the train has him pinned, so he's still alive, and he will remain alive until they move the train.
And he's still living there today, right?
Oh, it's
You go
horrible.
visit
It's like
him.
it's like you're gonna be alive like for the next couple of hours or whatever. It's like we'll call on your wife. You say your goodbyes, and it's like
Jesus.
I
It's
can't
sorta
believe that.
like
I
that.
can't believe that that's true. Is that true? Oh, I saw that. No, God, no.
All right, we're done. We're done.
No more. Let's not
This
talk
is like
about that.
this is the cringeworthy.
We need to end. So let's end on something good.
Let's talk about something else.
We're at the end.
what
We'll talk about that after the podcast. That's something else entirely. I don't,
I've never seen Gus this flustered.
We're stepping up the ante. We're stepping
yeah,
up the ante.
we've hit the dark pocket, and we need to end soon.
all right. We'll end on a positive. What's positive at this point? We should have a trivia contest at RTX.
Also, don't say dark pocket because dolphins might try to find their way into this room.
we can talk with Geeks Who Drink, see if we can do like an official like Red versus Blue or Rooster Teeth Geeks Who Drink event at RTX.
We are actually trying that. We're actually talking with the people this week, hopefully, that do Crank as well for a digital version of it,
sweet.
too. Yeah, we're trying to do some fun like activities at RTX. One of the big things we're trying to do is when people are waiting in line, turning that into a fun thing, an activity for people to
That's
do.
right.
For
We're
panels and
going
stuff.
to actually rent a dolphin.
We can have a petting pool.
You know, every
Come
time,
dressed up as a dolphin to RTX and experience the fun.
good lord, I gotta say,
you know how many cosplayers we're gonna have?
Oh God, it's dolphins.
you gotta be careful with what you say too, because every time we have a podcast, there's something that the audience latches onto,
Yep.
and they send it to us for months and months. I'm not gonna say what I don't want.
Okay,
I just-
yeah, don't even say it.
I'm just
Man.
happy. I'm just happy to be here.
I would hate if people sent us rum.
Listen,
that would be
it's
terrible.
It's going to be better if people latch on to the dressing up as dolphins versus dressing up as the guy in the elevator.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh
Wait,
god.
speaking of RTX, though, we have news about RTX soon, right?
Yeah, we finished up some marketing materials, and we're working on the ticketing system currently, and it's pretty close to being done. I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along.
So check back soon for more.
And if you want to kind of watch me, I'm going to be posting something pretty soon about a beta testing thing with the podcast. Gus, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is it could be a sponsor only thing you're gonna post?
No. It's something new, something totally different, and we're basically like, now that we have a sponsor, since Audible sponsored 2 of our last podcasts, we're going to try to figure out like, hey, since we have kind of a budget now, maybe we can do something cool with that. And so I need some beta testers to help me out with something with the podcast. So if you're an avid listener of the podcast, you would probably be interested in this.
But don't contact you yet. Wait for you.
I'll
to
be
say
posting something.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Just email Brandon at.
In the meantime, buy a Rooster Teeth animated adventure shirt from roosterteeth.com/store.
There you go.
All right. Well, we need to wrap this shit up.
Was that happy enough for you, Gus?
Yeah, we're much better.
Well,
All right.
where are we going to go eat?
Let's go to Rudy's and see Marshall.
No. That's too far away, Rudy's. That's a barbecue
Well, now
place.
they've got the flyover, so it's a lot quicker now. So.
What?
The 35 flower at Ben White.
Oh, it goes west now? Yeah, see, there's a weird thing about Austin where we have 4 freeways that intersect. So there's 4 corners of Austin where the freeways intersect. There was literally no freeway intersection where all going from one direction to the other direction, all 8 directions had flyovers.
Right. Yeah. Going north to south was always easy in town. It was
Yeah.
getting west to east that was always a fucking pain in the ass.
You had to get off the freeway, get a light, and get on another freeway. It's just like, what year is this? You know?
So anyway, they just finished up one of those intersections now.
They're doing some over in the southwest corner of town, which will help me a ton
Yeah.
if they can get those done.
Nice.
Yeah, like the stuff at Mopac and Ben White.
Let's talk about more incredibly local stuff.
Well, okay, where are we going to go eat?
Shit.
We go to P. Terry's or Five Guys.
Man, I can be convinced to go to Five Guys
Let's go to Five Guys.
today.
Five Guys.
You sure? Man,
We need to convince him. He said he could be convinced.
there needs to be a better burger place, like
Pete
close.
Pete Terry's is better than Five Guys.
Yeah, it is.
P. Terry's is also
Oh, is it
local.
further away?
No, they're right
closer?
across the
Right across the street.
Pete Terry's. Is
Oh, yeah, P. Terry's.
I'll eat a P.
The
Terry's.
last time we
Don't
went
go
to
to
Five
that.
Guys.
Go to the P. Terry's up at Ben White.
Last
It's
time we
right
went
up
to Five Guys.
Why wouldn't I go to this one over here at Mopac and
All the way down
William-
Slaughter?
Mopac and William Cannon.
Yeah,
They-
Mopac
they-
Lake.
You just
Wait.
go up to William Cannon and drive over.
No, it's way slower.
They didn't have heat at Five Guys the
No,
last
wait.
time we went
Also,
there.
the one on Ben White is only takeout. You can only drive through.
That is true. They didn't have
There's
heat
nothing
there.
wrong with drive-through.
What?
Nothing wrong with drive-through.
Okay.
You know, when we were in Vegas for the IAW TV Awards, and I had my awesome cab driver, which I post my motivational speeches from like every morning. Like,
You should have talked about that during the podcast.
it's going to be a great day. Well, it's on my list, so I'll just say it for next time, and I'll talk about the Austin asshole. But I think I ate, because there's In-N-Out in Vegas. I think I had like 4 different.
We
for the week
discovered,
were
Gus
there.
and I discovered something that I didn't realize. Like you can get like cheese on top of the fries. Holy crap!
They will melt 2 slices of cheese on top of your fries at In-N-Out.
I will never not get that again. It
Yep.
looked great.
Oh my god.
Oh, it looks so good.
You can get it.
Just order cheese fries, apparently.
It's one of the secret menu items.
That's the code.
I know. The code is very difficult to figure out. We cracked it, though. Cheese fries.
We put 2 words
Well,
together.
you can get your fries animal style too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like double.
grilled
It's
onions?
like it's like double fried or something like that, right?
Oh no, that's
No, that's dark. You can order dark French fries where they fry them longer. You can also order light French fries where they fry them less, but you can also order animal style.
I want to try that.